What's up, everybody? It's Thursday night. That means it's time to talk movies. How we all doing, everybody? I am your host, Vincent Didiano. Welcome to the POVincent podcast, where we talk about movie news and we do a movie review just because we like you that much. With me, as always, or sometimes always, because he always likes to correct me on that, is the human megaphone, Eric Williams. Eric, that put a smile on his face.
That is literally one of the best introductions I've ever had. I had one recently that was really good. It was something like, this guy's definitely been homeless at some point in his life. Or this guy might have asked you for change at the bus stop. Like, I was just like, these are completely valid, but yeah, you're right, I am a semantic son of a bitch. It drives my girlfriend crazy sometimes.
I think, hey, shout out to Eric's lady. She's tuning in right now. What's up, Sheena? How you doing? Or as some known her as Lady Macross out there, or Miss Macross, my apologies, Miss Macross. I'll never forget that time your lady was wearing that G Gundam t-shirt. I freaking love that thing. It's nice to have another Gundam fan in the circle of friends, you know what I'm saying?
Have you guys, like, fully Gundam'd out? Like, I know Brian's actually, Mr. Brian Crawford is a Gundam fan as well. He is?
I didn't know that. He really is a Gundam guy? Oh, fuck, Brian, if you're watching right now, man, next time I see you, we're talking some Gundam shit, man. I'm not fucking around.
I know this because at some point, like, Sheena and Brian had, like, Gundam, like, Sheena loves Gundam. Like, I don't know if you know that. I think you know this because I probably bring it up like every week. I'm a big NBA fan. That's right. I'm a white guy who's 5'9" in the city of Pittsburgh, the home of the Steelers and the Penguins. And I'm like, hey, basketball is pretty cool, right? Like, yeah, like, no, like, I'm a pretty big, I'm from the west side of Cleveland. I'm a pretty big NBA fan. The level to which she loves Gundam, like, makes my love for the NBA seem like politicians' love for actually delivering justice. So just not at all. Sure, I was like, we're going to take it political, but not, like, super political. Like, I was like, I don't want to pick anyone and target them. I just want to say that politicians are awful. I did a show this past week in New Brighton, and I did...
Tell me, Eric, tell me.
You've heard my Aldi joke, like, probably, like, 3,478 times. Like, you know, I'm like, you know, what's great about food when I'm not starving to death? That's why Aldi is really cool, and, like, normal people shop there. Worst thing about politics is none of the politicians we voted for shop there. And I'll do a joke about Hillary, and a joke about Trump, and then I just make fun of Bernie while admitting that I voted for him. And, like, I'm like, it's a political joke, but it's, like, a deep, because, like, the thing is, I'm like, guys, like, I'm not even, like, I'm not saying Bernie would have won. I'm not even, like, arguing his policies. I'm just saying, that's clearly a man who shops at Aldi. Yeah, which is a funny thing. I did that joke in New Brighton, and they were just like, like that.
What's a Bernie?
Like the hilarious Tim Ross was there as well, performing as Jackknife Taylor. If you ever have the opportunity, catch both Tim and or Jackknife Taylor. It is well worth whatever price you have to pay. He was absolutely wonderful. But he, like, later he was like, oh yeah, I was going to smoke a cigarette, but I heard you, like, start your set, and I was like, oh no, don't do politics. And I was just like, I didn't even think, it was one of those things where I was like, no, like, this isn't political, right? I, like, depoliticize it. Nope. Like, some shit you just can't like, it's one of those where you're like, oh, like, this is acceptable, and they're like, no, because you went to that room. Like, we don't care that you didn't shit in the corner, you just opened the door, and that pissed us off.
Well, everybody, thank you for tuning into the latest episode of Everybody Tolerates Eric.
Not everyone. Though no one stabbed me, which I was like very happy about. There was literally like a bike gang there. They were very friendly. They did not laugh at my jokes, but no one physically threatened me. Which is really like kind of like a wash.
Oh, man. All right.
Well, you know, like the ideal scenario is like people are like, oh, ha, ha, you're hilarious.
Exactly.
But ultimately,
like me, people like me.
Yes, but if you go up on stage and you're like, here are these jokes that I have put effort and time into, and people aren't like, we want to physically hurt you. Like you did okay. If you avoid though some people would say if you're not getting physical violence, then you're not doing it right. But you know, it's all perspective. My point is like, I will accept an audience not laughing. That's acceptable behavior. No one made a prison shank during my set.
No, you have to. I think all comedy stages should come with that like that wire fencing that you see in Roadhouse at the beginning. Remember at the beginning of Roadhouse when he first gets there? You know, such a fucking shithole that people just throwing bottles. I think that's a good safety precaution. I do.
Why has there never been like a crossover where the Blues Brothers go to play at Roadhouse?
Oh, Eric. Now it's gonna happen. And it's gonna fucking suck. Both the sequels to those movies were fucking horrible.
Wait, time out. You're telling me that there was a Roadhouse 2?
Yeah, it was one of those straight to like home video deals. I think.
Sure, it wasn't like straight to beta at like that point in time.
No, it came out like in the early 2000s. I think
they were like, Patrick Swayze's dying of cancer. We need to make a sequel.
Oh no, they just played it off as like the new guy's his son, and he just got into the same career, into the same bullshit. But it was like, you know, I don't know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, also I want to say give Eric, thank you. Eric brought us beer tonight, bro. Thank you. We got tasty beer, and I'm going to need it later when we get to the middle segment. But first, ladies and gentlemen, time to get to movie news. Let's get right into it, people.
I feel like Vince just told us he needs like alcohol to deal with tough topics.
It's not a tough topic. It's just it's tough in the sense that it's painful. But first, we're going to get to some just mild movie news stuff. So let's go on to our...
The giant that's been eating us for like the entire first like 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, we'll get into...
Like Shrek is just like, I don't know, he's just like, like Vincent, you are about to just fall into his mouth, or you're like flossing his like left 3 molars.
Yeah, all right. So ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long time since Shrek has been on the big screen.
It has been. Are we talking the most recent one in the franchise, or are we talking about the first Shrek?
No, we're talking about the most recent one. It's been like, God, I don't know how long. I'd have to check it. But
Shrek's been going for just about 20 years. I believe the first one is 1999.
No, it's not 1999. I'm going to check it right now and prove you wrong.
What's your guess? What are you saying?
I'm saying 2004. I want to say 2004.
I'm going with 99.
Okay. 2001.
Hey, what's closer to 2001, 1999, or 2004? Also, you went over, so if this were The Price is Right, you're fucked!
I want to make The Price is Right, Joe. But anyway,
I actually feel kind of bad about that.
No, don't worry about it. It's okay.
I feel like I took a little bit of joy from you. No, like I was just kind of your Bob Barker who was like, nope, you were over by 1.
I can't watch The Price is Right. It gets me too when people fuck up on the clock game. It just drives me. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, according to an article on theplaylist.net, Despicable Me producer hired by DreamWorks to relaunch the Shrek franchise. It's only been 7 years since Puss in Boots. Oh, I guess I forget about Puss in Boots. The latest film in the Shrek franchise hit theaters and earned $555 million worldwide. But seeing time and time again, it's never too early to reboot a franchise. Although what DreamWorks and Despicable Me mastermind Chris Meledandri is being called a reboot, but really doesn't sound like what you think is a typical use of the term. It goes on. Variety is reporting that DreamWorks has hired Mandra to the man behind the animation studio Illumination, which I think is the same studio that did the movie for our movie review tonight, if I'm not wrong here. But yeah, so...
if you're wrong, we have to murder you. I mean, by we, I mean me. You can help a little bit, but you're going to have difficulty helping me bury the corpse.
Yeah, the article goes on about how, Shrek is now, been away for long enough that there's going to be a whole new group of moviegoers, new young kids who are going to be, introduced to a new version of it. This new potential film series is being dubbed a reboot. It's really more of the same, so to speak. It's too early to confirm this. Melandri says he's not really interested in recasting the film series, which stars, Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, and Antonio Banderas. He says, when you look back on those vocal performances, they're awesome, and while you certainly could make a case for a complete reinvention, I find myself responding to my own nostalgic feelings of wanting to go back to those characterizations. The challenge for us has been to find something that really does feel like it's not simply yet another film in a series of sequels. Okay, so let's get into it. First Shrek, very fun movie. It was very, very cool. Definitely a interesting take on the fairy tale franchise.
It's one of the best movies of 2001 or 1999, depending on which dimension you're from initially. Go on.
You know what? This beer tastes awful. I wish you hadn't brought it to me. I don't know. So here's the thing. So Shrek is kind of in its own right, kind of like one of those modern classic animated films. It's, whether it's going to be viewed as a classic down the road, I don't know. I kind of hope, once again, I like it. But the problem with the Shrek franchise was, as it went on, the movies became less impressive. The sequel was also good, but then you get into the third and fourth ones. I think the last one was the Rumpelstiltskin one, where Shrek accidentally makes a wish where he unbursts himself, and he basically Shrek points it. Instead of Flashpoint, it was Shrek Point or something like that. And he fucks up the whole timeline because he Rumpelstiltskin tricks him into making a wish. And how to reverse the wish is that true love's first kiss, because in this alternate timeline in Shrek Point, he never met Fiona, and he has to make her fall in love with him, but she's lived a completely different life at this point, and she just finds him annoying, and
Wait, so it's a reverse The Family Man?
Oh, what, the Nicolas Cage movie?
Nicolas Cage, Tia Leone.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's a reverse Family Man. So yeah, it's kind of weird. And it was just been there, done that. True love's first kiss. You've done this before. How many more times do we need to test Shrek and Fiona's relationship?
Okay. In defense of the Shrek franchise, how many times has the Flash TV show done Flashpoint so far? They've done it 4 times.
Well, they did Flashpoint. Technically, they did Flashpoint once in one episode, which everybody was disappointed by, and then the rest this is season 3, and the rest of season 3 was just the consequences of Flashpoint. And it was not highly acclaimed.
Doesn't season 1 end with Flashpoint, and doesn't season 2 end up with him undoing Flashpoint, and then in season 3 don't they just go back and do Flashpoint again?
No, season 1 ends with him going back to save his mom from being killed, but he decides not to do that because that would be selfish and fuck up the timeline. Then season 2 ends with him being selfish and going back and saving her and fucking up the timeline.
Which should be Flashpoint.
Right, because season 3 began with Flashpoint, but it was a super watered down Flashpoint. It was here's a glass of water, here's a couple drips of lemon. That's our Flashpoint. I wanted lemonade, and I got lemon-flavored water.
You wanted lemonade, and you were like, what the fuck is this LaCroix shit?
Yeah. Oh, fucking hate LaCroix.
Okay, LaCroix is fantastic. Bellevue is better because it's cheaper, and I love Aldi. If they would pay me to advertise, I would be like, Aldi, why are you paying for advertisements? Keep your prices low, fuckers.
Okay. Yeah, now I'm going to get into this, people. We're going to get to the LaCroix discussion. So here's the thing. I'm afraid that I don't know. I mean, this movie is just really early, so it's going to be a few years before it even comes out.
Okay, Vince, I don't believe this.
Believe what?
I just don't believe that you're afraid of anything.
I don't.
Look at this. This is a man who is just without fear. This is the Didiano, the original V. Diddy. That is a face of a man who has just had a whole bunch of parental fear instilled in his life and a lot of pasta, which the doctor at some point was like, this will cause diabetes. And you were like, I don't care. A man who lives without fear but looks great in a leather jacket.
Yes, that is who I am. That's who I am. But each hero must face its challenges from time to time. And as a movie reviewer, my challenge is, did we need this reboot? Did we need it? And that's where I'm coming back, because this is a discussion that's been going on for years, and we're like for 15 years now, where Hollywood keeps on cranking out reboots, remakes, unnecessary sequels, and prequels. We've discussed this stuff on the show before. We've reviewed movies we reviewed movies that are basically sequel, prequels, reboot, remakes, soft reboots, soft remakes, soft prequel, requels.
Does Hollywood do anything else now?
I don't know. I don't know, something about Harvey Weinstein last year. I can't remember what.
I mean, if we're being honest, I don't really think any artist has been original since the first guy that was like, I'm going to convince people that a deity put us here.
Yeah. But anyway, let's move on from that on to basically what we were just talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been announced for a while now that they're making another Willy Wonka movie, all right? And they haven't cast anybody. There's no word of a script. Some people are saying Donald Glover should be the new Willy Wonka. Maybe. I don't know. But it has been basically confirmed that this movie is going to be a prequel, according to an article on comicbook.com. New Willy Wonka movie confirmed to be a prequel. Producer David Heyman says the latest movie will be an origin of sorts. He says, we are still trying to figure out how to tell that story, what the story is. It's a prequel. It's not a sequel. What makes Willy? When we find him at... This is what he says.
What makes Willy?
Yeah.
What makes Willy wet?
What makes Willy? Why won't little Willy go home? Did you get that song reference? No, fuck it.
No, I was just going with a weird Wet Willy thing.
Yeah, Free Willy. Willy
okay, way to make it sexual, Vincent. Way to just make it a dark turn. Because clearly you were referencing Exposing a Penis and not a beloved child's movie from the early 90s.
I was going for the movie. That is your misinterpretation. All right? All right?
In the middle of the night. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Okay, this could both be like reference to the 90s movie or a penis.
All right. Anyway, going on with what you're saying, when we find him at the chocolate factory doing the golden ticket, where is he before that? What leads him to that place where he's locked himself away? It's how does he get there? So we're playing around with that. And it goes on and on. So this is, I assume this is going to make people very concerning. Because the last time we did a Willy Wonka or Charlie Chocolate Factory movie, whatever, because they switched it, it was a Tim Burton remake, which was unnecessary.
Okay, so I'm going to throw a minority opinion out there. I think I've said this before. I know I've said it before. I don't know if I've said it here. If I've had an opinion, it's probably come out because I just don't shut the fuck up ever. I think that movie is overhated, the Willy Wonka remake. Now, my statement, I saw that movie during a summer during college where me and my very good friend Johannes Heinrich Kretschmann, that's a real name.
Cool.
I was still living in Cleveland, and for the summer, we lived in Rochester, PA, and we worked on an organic farm in Zelienople.
Okay.
And we smoked about 5 joints the one day and ate at Cece's fucking disgusting pizza buffet.
If this is about to end with you saying then you saw the movie, you can just stop defending it right there, my friend. Because there's no way a combination of weed and CC's put you in a proper mental state to judge a film. I'm about to say that shit right now. All right?
So then we watched the movie.
Fucking hell. You fucking kidding me? All right. Enough. Here's the problems with that movie, okay? Here's the problem with that movie. 1, Johnny Depp Very talented actor, not a talented husband.
True, very true.
His reinterpretation of Willy Wonka was, here's the thing. Gene Wilder was a fucking comedic genius and just a talented actor to begin with, and his iconic portrayal of Willy Wonka, it's a fucking hard shadow to get out of. So I'm gonna give Johnny Depp some credit. It's just, and I understand he wanted to, like, you gotta make your Willy distinguish yourself from the Gene Wilder one. But
Could you please just repeat that?
Gene Wilder cast a hell of a fucking shadow. I give Johnny Depp credit for even anybody who took that role. I give Johnny Depp.
No, that's not the part I want you to repeat.
What part?
Keep going.
So I understand that Johnny Depp wanted to distinguish his Willy. Damn it! Damn it! I'm gonna drink more of my beer.
Oh my god, the viewers probably hate me so much right now, as do you, and that is fair on all counts and completely worth it.
You wanted to, see, I can't even, like, I want to say he's going to distinguish his Wonka, but that doesn't even sound that doesn't sound any fucking better. That doesn't sound any better. He wanted to distinguish. Now I'm just thinking of all the wrong ways. Like, Johnny Depp wanted to make his Willy stand out, and there's no way to go. No, I'm such a professional. But anyway, so I understand there's a lot of pressure on Depp. I get it. But it's just like, and he said that his version of Willy Wonka was inspired a lot by Michael Jackson. And I'm not trying to diss on Michael Jackson, but he was a very eccentric, odd man at times. So I just don't think that was the right route. Plus, Charlie, the character Charlie, played by Freddie Highmore, who was a talented young actor. He's gone on. He's did the Bates Motel series. Now he's got that Good Doctor series on like NBC or ABC, one of those.
Oh, is that the same dude?
Yeah, that's Freddie Highmore. Yeah, the Good Doctor replaced like I forget what his mental condition is, but he's he's Rain Man as a doctor basically. His Charlie, and I don't blame this on him because a young actor, his Charlie was too good. He was kind of a Mary Sue type, like original Charlie and Chocolate Factory. Charlie, he gives up his little bits of chocolate to his family, grandparents, but then later he finds that $1 coin. And he buys chocolate for himself and just scarfs that shit down because he's never had, you need that moment where you show, okay, he's human. He can be a little selfish. Freddie Highmore's Charlie, he was such a little angel. And, he's sort of like, whenever I'm sad, I go with my family. I'm like...
I got you. We never, what you're saying is in the remake, we never saw Charlie be the New England Patriots.
Yeah. Okay. A little bit.
They're like, oh, you're selfish and kind of shitty. Like, oh, we get it. You're yeah. You like to self-indulge a little bit.
Yeah. But Charlie, he's still a good kid. It's just he has that one moment. It's like, I can't be nice. I need some. Like, we all have those moments of weakness, and you need some weakness. You need some weakness in a character, and the new Charlie didn't. But anyway, so here we go. We're going to an origin story, which the last movie actually did give an origin story for Wonka. Showing his past, his dad being a dentist, played by the great late Christopher Lee, God rest his soul, and showing up like he wasn't allowed any candy in his household, and that's why he became obsessed with making candy. And he traveled the world and learned. This happened in the last movie. Yeah, they gave him an origin story in the last movie. So if they're going to do this new prequel, they got to be careful because that origin story not super fleshed out. It's just a part of the couple flashbacks throughout the film. But it was like, okay, this kind of works. I still don't understand why he turned out like Michael Jackson, but I mean, it was kind of cool. I mean, once again, the movie, and if when you argue this, that last Wonka movie, it's hard because Gene Wilder, before he passed away, he saw the movie and he was doing an interview somewhere in front of a live audience, a crowd, I think at some university or something like that, and they brought up the movie and he said, I don't understand why they remade that film. Like he says, he's like, Tim Burton's a talented guy, But it's like our original's just such a classic. Like he didn't get why they like he's so I don't hate that last movie. It's just it needed to be really some special.
Okay, I'll just
make it.
I'll just say this, Vincent. No one thinks straight with their stomach full of CCs. Okay, I just no one.
Well, let's move. You gave us the story, okay?
It's hard to keep your willies straight with a stomach full of CCs.
Okay. Did you? Were you? How high did you get? Were you so high that you saw your buddy Scrumdiddlyumptious bar?
What?
You don't remember that from the original movie? The Scrumdiddlyumptious bar.
I thought you were just asking me if I saw my buddy's penis.
I did, but I said that instead.
Wait, when is that in the original? I haven't seen the original since I was like...
The Scrumdiddlyumptious bar is the one that Charlie takes for himself. Like, he gets the money, and when he gets the money, he should give it to his family, because family is, so poor, but he takes it and uses it to buy the Scrumdiddlyumptious bar. Anyway. Well, we laughed. That's all I needed. Moving on to the next story.
My girlfriend's going to be excited about this.
Yeah.
She still has not seen the Bryan Cranston one, although I think we've both seen the disappointing Matthew Broderick one.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about the king of the monsters himself, Godzilla! Yes! Oh, I have loved Godzilla since I was a kid. I saw... First Godzilla movie I ever saw was The Terror of Mechagodzilla, which is the last movie of the original series, which is kind of weird to get in on, but it hooked me. And I've seen the original, the American version with Steve Martin edited in, and the Japanese original, which I recommend seeing the Japanese original without the American edit in it, just because then the Japanese characters get more focus, and that's where the real human stories are going on. So, but apparently what happened, according to an article on cinemablend.com, a tiny island off the coast of Japan disappeared. It just disappeared overnight or something like that. And people who live in a little harbor town nearby, they could clearly see it all the time. There it is. It's, that little island. Nothing. It just disappeared, and the internet is blaming Godzilla for the disappearance of this island. That's all there really is to the story. And some of you might go, is that really movie news? And to you I say, no, but it's Godzilla, and it's my show, so I wanted to talk about it real quick. Okay? I'm really excited.
So, I feel I think, and I could be wrong, but I feel like the most interesting thing about the story is it actually illustrates your brand of nerdiness. No, because there's an island that was visible from Japan, and that is not visible anymore. And the way you immediately went was Godzilla. It is definitely Godzilla. You weren't Lost or Fantasy Island or maybe the Doctor was involved. You're Godzilla, it's Japan, and I fucking love that giant reptile radioactive creature. Ah!
He was one of my heroes growing up. He really was. Godzilla. He's awesome. He's the king of the monsters. That's the name of his first movie. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And
who are your other heroes? The atom and hydrogen bomb?
Do you really want to know my other heroes growing up?
I no, but for the sake of our viewers, I'm going to say yes, because it's going to be interesting and a little bit painful, I feel.
No, so remember, I was born in the mid-'80s.
Wait, you mean you were born in 85?
86.
Damn.
Yeah. I got you that time, bitch. Anyway, I don't know why I took it that far. But anyway, my other hero...
How dare you call me a female dog? It's only man's best friends, and women's are equal to men, so fuck you.
Anyway, no, women are cool. I'm joking. Jesus.
They're gonna light you on fire after this.
Yeah. Anyway, other heroes growing up, obviously Superman, the Christopher Reeve Superman, the Ghostbusters, Highlander, the TV series Highlander, not the movie because I didn't see the movie until I was a little older. Yeah. I'm sorry. All respect to Christopher Lambert, who played the original Highlander, Connor McLeod. I don't blame him for how all the sequels turned out. That was, just him doing the character. But for me, my first and true Highlander will always be Duncan MacLeod, played by Adrian Paul.
You're a monster.
What? No! Screw you! Did you ever watch?
No, that honestly is one of the weirdest, branding crossover type things. Do you know the reason for that? Because they'd done, by the time they made the Highlander TV show, there had been, at least 2 movies, if not 3?
Well, the third movie came out while the show was still on TV. Because that's how actually I found about the movies. When I was a kid, I was really young, I just knew about the TV series. I didn't know the TV series was inspired by movies. And when the third one came out, it starred Christopher Lambert, the original actor who played Connor. Because in the TV series, Duncan is a clansman of Connor's who also became immortal. Or I should say turned out to be an immortal. And yeah, the third one came out while the TV series was running. I think the TV series started in the real late 80s, so I think the second one was out by the time it started. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, and then the next movie was Highlander Endgame, which brought both Highlanders onto the big screen.
What do you mean after the third movie?
Yeah, after the third movie, Highlander 3, they decided the fourth movie was set in the TV universe. Where
by the time the TV show had come to an end, years passed.
Yeah. So the fourth movie was Highlander Endgame, the third one was Final Dimension, and I changed it.
That sounds right.
That brought that was based in the TV universe because all the previous movies were basically a reboot because because at the end of the movie there can be only one, and he was the one, and every time they wanted to make a new movie, they had to be this really happened instead. They just changed the ending to the last movie. Except for the third one. They ignored the second movie because it's you guys were really aliens. You just forgot. I'm like, fuck you. Highlander 2 is one of the most hated films in fantasy.
We've discussed it, but I love the intro. I've already gone off about it, but it's fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway, we got to move on because we got to talk about some other stuff.
Wait, you want to talk about Twisted Sister if it had a clown face?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to keep this real brief because we got a movie review to get to. Earlier today, I saw a trailer for a movie. The name of that movie is Clownado.
This is a real thing.
Yes.
I'm sorry, everyone.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I understand that, in a world where, the main character from The Apprentice is now the leader of America, who's been voted in.
I don't even think we can really blame this on him.
No, we can't. But I'm that's such a level of surrealness when a reality star becomes the leader of your world. It's shit can't really get more surreal. And then a movie like Clownado comes out, obviously, and you're holy fuck.
Yes, obviously inspired partially by the Sharknado franchise, which was a huge hit for Sci-Fi Channel, and I believe all those films were done by Asylum Studios, which is just, they do all knockoff films, basically, except for Sharknado. That was their one original idea.
Original idea, because Schlock 70 movies have never been done before.
Yeah, but so anyway, I watched the trailer for Clownado earlier today.
Oh my gosh, you said that like someone was just giving you a colonoscopy. I watched the trailer for It Hurts. That's all. Clownado.
Eric, you're wrong, because I've had a colonoscopy. And it was actually quite comfortable compared to this trailer. This trailer left me broken. It left me broken.
This trailer was a size larger than you were expecting.
Yes. No lube, just a dry run.
You don't tag your family when we post this, right?
No.
Okay, just checking. Just checking. I have no I'm not friends with my parents on Facebook. They're still alive. Bless their hearts, may it be that way for a while.
Yes.
I remember years back, Anthony Sabat, funny comedian from Ohio, came to pick me up when I was living with my parents, and I was in the shower. And Anthony, he's a horrible degenerate, but he works at being a decent human being. And he shows up, and my mom was a lady in her 60s at the time, and he's like, "Oh, hello, Mrs. Williams, blah blah blah," like being a decent human being. And we're like, in our late 20s, and I pop out of the shower, and I'm just like, "Oh, what's up, you cock muncher? I see you meant the lady whose vagina I popped out of," or something like that. Yeah, and he was just like, "How are you saying this in front of her?" And I was like, "She's my mom. Why are you acting like she's your mom?" When I'm saying that I'm a horrible human being. I think that's what yeah.
I don't know why you need to tell that story to justify your being horrible. I mean, after the C-season. Anyway, so yeah, Clownado. The trailer just briefly. The trailer really focuses on the gore in the film. Because horrible camera work, horrible editing, bad acting. I think that the plot is that they're demon clowns or something. I don't fucking know. And one of them was a female clown with monster titties, and I don't know.
Monster titties terrify Vincent.
They do. Don't lie. I like titties. Don't make them bad. But anyway, just like the trailer really wants you to just, because it goes back between like one of the random horrible actor characters saying a line, then back to seeing the clowns tearing somebody apart. And I'm like, "Oh, what the hell's going on?" Clowns tearing apart. "We got a job to do." Clowns tearing people apart. It just like wants you like, "We get it. You know you're making a crappy film, and you're hoping the gore factor enough will make the money back. We get it. But anyway, so God damn it. Anyway,
so sir,
what?
Okay, so
I don't recommend the film. I know I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, well, was this the first, predictive review you're like, "I do not recommend this film. Haven't seen it, but no. Save yourself.
Exactly.
Save yourself."
I'm pulling a James Rolfe after he saw the Ghostbusters 2016 trailer, and I'm saying I'm not going to see the movie.
No, so we saw the Halloween re-sequel? I don't know what you...
We're going to say a soft sequel.
Okay, we saw the Halloween soft sequel. A couple. So time out. I just want to clarify, the soft sequel that we saw would technically be like a soft trilogy because it included both the first and second film, right? But none of the other films.
No. The new Halloween movie ignored everything except for the original. It did not include
I think you're wrong.
No. At the end of the second Halloween movie, remember at the end of it ends with Michael getting caught in a fiery explosion caused by Dr. Loomis, and that was supposed to kill him and burn him, but Michael's alive. I'm pretty sure yes.
Okay, I apologize. I said because unless I'm mistaken, the first and second movie take place on the same night.
Yeah, the original take place on the same night. All this shit happens in one night.
They kept. I haven't actually seen the second film to be completely.
It's been years for me since I've seen it.
But they kept referencing the initial night, and I was like, oh, so it has to include the first two films. But I actually went back. It was Halloween, just over a week ago, and I watched. Me and Sheena watched the original Halloween, and. Classic, good, still fun to watch, but it's not really a slasher.
No, I mean, it's in the slasher genre, but it's like...
It's a strangler. It's a no. When's the last time? Again, I know you're not a big horror movie guy, and I know we've got a review to get to, so I'm not going to spend too much time. But when's the last time you watched the movie?
The original?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a while. Here's the thing about the original. It's one of the earliest of what you would call the slasher genre. So, I mean, I think the slasher genre really cemented what it was once you got into the 80s, because the original Halloween was like 78, 79. But once you get into the 80s, because the 80s had slasher films left and right, some became more famous than others. But I think because as the earliest one, that was before it was just like, I mean, Michael had his kills. But,
I think the way it technically kind of goes, and I could be wrong here, I'm not the biggest expert, but Black Christmas, I think technically is often considered kind of the first slasher.
Well, that or like Texas Chainsaw, because Texas Chainsaw came out before Halloween, didn't it?
Did it?
I don't know. I'll check on. I'll give it a quick check.
Black Christmas, I want to say is like 76 or something, but then you have Halloween in 78.
Black Christmas 74. Okay, so yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was the mid to late 70s that started to like really do those kind of films, but by the 80s it was. I think that's when probably the term was established, because the 80s had so many slasher films.
Well, the 80s had a number of slasher films, and also a lot of fucking characters that just cemented themselves within the culture, largely Jason and Freddy.
Yes.
And Friday the 13th gets all the credit, even though that actually came after a very similar film, I believe, called The Burning Man, which has Jason Alexander as one of the stars. But again, a similar, kids go to a summer camp, someone gets like...
Oh, it's not The Burning Man. I think it's just called The Burning. That's the one that's got the famous scene where the guy's got the hedge clippers and he goes at those kids on the docks.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, you got those early movies that are kind of like, little by little, it gets more and more popular. And Hollywood just ate them up because slasher films, the horror movies of that nature are relatively cheap to make. And that's why they were like punching them out left and right, especially once the 80s hit. But yeah, so, well, anyway, we need to, we're down to like, we got to get to this movie review. Eric, hit up. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to talk about The Grinch. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, The Grinch is back once again to hit the movie screens. This time, The Grinch is animated, done by Illumination Studios, and which is the same people who've done Despicable Me and some of the other Dr. Seuss movies, like the Lorax and... Horn Hears a Who. The Grinch is voiced in this movie by Benedict Cumberbatch. So yeah, all you Cumberbatchers, or what do you like to call yourselves? I don't know. I like Benedict Cumberbatch too, but he's voicing the Grinch, and I wasn't surprised when that was announced, because Benedict Cumberbatch has actually proved he's got some voice talents. He was on the Graham Norton show.
Cumberbatchers?
I don't know. Cumberbatch Kids? I don't know.
Cumberbatch Kids sounds bad. Cumberbatchers sounds like what a cucumber calls like their child's cum stains when they're going through their masturbation phase in teenagehood. Cumberbatchers. I don't know.
Eric, you be straight with me right now. You be straight with me. The CC thing, did that happen today? Just tell me. Just tell me. Just be honest.
I don't think so.
You don't? Oh, fuck.
But CC's has been known to fuck with one's perspective of time.
Okay, we're going to get you some help, my friend. But ladies and gentlemen, so Benedict Cumberbatch voices the Grinch. Rashida Jones voices Cindy Lou Who's mom. Cindy Lou Who is voiced by a young actress named Cameron Seeley, who I'm not familiar with. Kenan Thompson's in the film as one of the characters who lives in Whoville. And Pharrell Williams is the narrator of this new Grinch movie, and that's actually where I'm going to start with. Pharrell Williams, who's a very talented, popular, respected musician. He is a narrator in this movie. I disagree with him being chosen as the narrator. In the last
Why do they not cover any Marvin Gaye songs?
No, here's the thing. So, the narrator usually is done by like an older man. Especially, like in the last one, they had Anthony Hopkins as a narrator, and I think that it was just weird hearing a younger person narrate the movie, because I think that narrator needs that old wise man kind of touch to it.
Anthony Hopkins narrated the Jim Carrey one?
Yeah, that was him.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
I actually have never watched that one start to finish.
It's a fun flick. It has a few problems, which I like.
I love Dr. Seuss, and I was just like, you're turning that into a 90.
The last movie I enjoy. I like it. I have some criticisms for it, but overall, I thought the last one. Pharrell Williams, once again, like, I've got nothing against him. He's got a nice voice, but it's just like, I don't know. As a narrator, I really wasn't digging it. In this version of the Grinch, as always, the Grinch he lives in his little mountain cave home above Whoville. He hates Christmas. He's annoyed by the Who's, and I love Christmas. And he's like, his heart is 3 sizes too small. All that good stuff. Benedict Cumberbatch does a fine job voicing the Grinch. He's not as he's mean. He's nasty. He's not quite as sinister as previous Grinches, like in the original cartoon special, where they had Boris Karloff, voicing the Grinch. Boris had that, that I must stop this from happening. He's like, I can't do it. I can't Boris it. But he was good. He was sinister. He was fiendish. Jim Carrey was sinister. He wasn't as fiendish. He was just, just mean and just, I thought Jim Carrey did good, but he brought his Jim Carrey, physical comedy. He's very, energetic, and, credit to Jim Carrey and the makeup effects team in that last movie, because, Jim Carrey was really able to express himself through the makeup, and that's what you got to do when you're doing Jim Carrey. But at times the Grinch seemed kind of nice. Famously, the Grinch has his dog Max, and there's moments in the movie where he's mostly nice to Max for the most part. He does a few things because he's the Grinch, but he's actually, for the most part, a lot nicer to Max than I've seen in the previous incarnations. So that was a little weird, and you see him kind of nice, he goes, the Grinch. He goes down into Whoville, and all of the Who's are having a good time, and they're getting ready for Christmas. And this is something I wanted to bring up. This is something I've not seen in the previous ones. Is that there's a few times where we actually get to see some of the wildlife in the Whoville. The beginning scene of the movie, while Pharrell is narrating, is there's these on the ground. It seems like these little snowballs, and then they pop up, and they're actually these birds that have this balls of feather around them. Very Dr. Seussy looking animals, and they ski down the mountain on their little bird feet, and it's kind of a cool thing. It's very Dr. Seuss kind of weird animals. And then we see a few other animals in the movie, so I found interesting. We actually got to see some wildlife in Whoville. That's just a little thing.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Another thing once again, of course, the classic Grinch song. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You're the king of sinful thoughts. Right. This new rendition of the song is, I don't know who sang it, but it's given more of a modern feel to it, a modern kind of I don't know. I don't want to necessarily somewhat hip-hoppy rap kind of a thing. And it just really hurts the song. I understand the need to modernize certain material for a new generation, but certain things are classics for a reason, and it just...
Oh, you elitist pig.
And what I'm saying, it's... Anyway, it's this could be fun for the time period, but then who's really going to enjoy this 10 years down the line? And I understand, we need to, do a new rendition of it, but you got to give it that classic feel. And I just don't think it works in that way. And I see a lot of that stuff in there. There's this one scene in the movie where Grinch and Max, they're off to grab some stuff to get ready for, to steal Christmas. And they run into this goat. And the goat does that screaming goat noise from the internet, what I'm talking about? No, not it's it's like the shrieking goat on YouTube. It's it doesn't do a normal goat thing. It's yeah. And I'm okay, that's kind of funny, but is anyone going to get that reference years down the line? It's just no one's going to get that. It could still be funny, but no one's going to know, oh, is that a thing?
Wow,
that was a thing?
My brain just jumped straight to Scary Movie. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you mean the Matrix kick?
No.
Oh, what were you thinking about? Because there's a lot of, current... What's up? Yeah. Yeah. Scary movie. Fun film, but then it gave rise to all those other parody films that just did that. What's funny now? What's not going to be still funny 10 years down the line? Did any of those fuckers see a Mel Brooks movie? Anyway, so yeah, this movie does suffer from a lot of, like, they're trying to put current, like, coolness and trends into it, and that's just not going to help it survive and make it, work down the road. I mean, the Jim Carrey movie, yes, the Jim Carrey movie has some modern references, but it still just has, like, fun, goofy humor that you don't need to understand what was in pop culture at that time for it to work. So that really didn't work for me. In the last one, the movie with Jim Carrey, which was directed by Tim Howard, they gave an origin story for the Grinch that he just wasn't, like, it was more the reason why his heart was 3 sizes too small and all that stuff. Like he had a lonely life. He was bullied as a kid. When he was delivered to his parents.
Wait, so the Grinch in the Jim Carrey version was Rob Zombie's Michael Myers?
Little bit. He was bullied. Yeah. Yeah, but he didn't, like, torture. He didn't, like, kill and torture squirrels like that. I mean,
he just kept Max alive so he could torture him for the entirety of his life.
Yeah, he wasn't like he tortured Oompa Loomps or something. I don't know, something Seussian. Yeah. So that, like I said, like all this attempt to put modern coolness into it. It robs
coolness.
Yeah, it robs it of being a new classic version of the Grinch story. In this one, they give him just a brief origin that he just he grew up in an orphanage, and the orphanage never got a Christmas tree, so he never got to celebrate Christmas, which is that didn't make any sense to me. I mean, that might go over little kids' heads, but I was like, I'm pretty sure orphanages would still get a Christmas tree or something. So yeah, that's the reason why he hates Christmas is not because he hates Christmas, it's because he's lonely. That's what his deal is.
This is a really weird poster, by the way. Like,
the one we got up here?
Yeah. Like, it's just the Grinch and Max from the back looking at a giant Christmas tree. Like, it looks like I'm looking at a political candidate about to get assassinated.
Yeah. Oh, dude, no, that's part of the movie.
Oh, shit. That's actually a reboot version that I would check out.
No, not
the
Grinch
goes to Dallas.
Yeah, no, it's just not the assassination thing. It's like the Christmas tree in the movie is it's like a fucking redwood. I'm not even kidding. It's huge, dude. There's like a thing where this year the mayor of Whoville wants everything to be 3 times more Christmassy. It's like, 3 times more Christmas, and his heart's gonna go 3 times sizes. And we get it. We fucking get it.
They're like, we're gonna make the Pittsburgh Light of Night jealous of us. Ah!
Yeah.
Light of Night's coming up. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, there is some talent in this film. Oh, and there's a subplot where Cindy Lou Who's mom is a single parent, and she's trying to take care of the kids by herself, and Cindy Lou Who wants to help her mom by asking Santa for help. And I'm just like, I don't care about this subplot. It's not really Christmas related, except for her wanting to talk to Santa. It never really drew me in. I didn't care.
You didn't believe it.
No. Anyway, so we're running down time, so I'm going to finish that. So, ladies and gentlemen, the new Grinch. Unfortunately, I'm going to say I do not recommend this film. It could be a nice distraction for really little kids. I think it's only going to give so much for slightly older kids, who are about or 8 or 9, little kids. It's just a distraction, but I honestly would not recommend it. I don't think it's going to give adults that nostalgic Grinch feel that they grew up with, whether they grew up with the original animated Christmas specials, or maybe you're slightly younger, you have kids and you grew up with the Jim Carrey version. I don't think this movie's going to give you what you're looking for. I may be wrong. If you have seen this film and you did enjoy it, please let us know in the comments. I'd like hear your side of it, but I personally do not recommend the film.
I feel like you just said hey, don't take your kids to this unless you've been considering murdering them, because then that's an acceptable alternative.
No, the movie's not that bad. It's just boring. It lacks real heart and motivation. Okay. Not motivation, just real But anyway, so yeah, that's our movie review for the week. We're gonna wind down to the end of the show. A few announcements. One, Thanksgiving is coming up, and Thanksgiving does fall on Thursday when we do shoot the show. But it's Thanksgiving, and I'm going to spend time with the people I care about. Eric will be doing the same. And unfortunately,
you assume.
But yeah, no show that week, which is unfortunate because there's a couple big movies coming out that week. Creed 2 and Wreck-It Ralph 2 are coming out. So for the following episode, we're not only going to do a review of the new movie that week, we're going to be doing a review of Creed 2 and Wreck-It Ralph 2. So that the episode following Thanksgiving will be nothing but back-to-back movie reviews. Boom, shakalaka. Another thing, we've been doing the show now for about 3 months, maybe longer. For everybody out there, if you've enjoyed the show, thank you for tuning in, whether you're a new viewer or you've been around for a little bit longer. If you do enjoy the show, please follow us on social media, most particularly Facebook. Our Facebook page is really where we're kind of taking in all of information and seeing how people are enjoying the show. So please like and follow us on Facebook. And if you really do enjoy the show, if you enjoy me and Eric, please consider becoming a patron on patreon.com and donating to the show. We really appreciate all of that. But that's about all I got to say for now. I do not have any comedy shows coming up. Eric, you got any comedy shows you want to plug real quick?
Next Wednesday, I will be at the Pittsburgh Improv, which I believe is under new management, for their annual, hey, we're doing a stand-up contest! So yeah, it's 8 o'clock. I believe, according to what I've heard, all of the rounds prior to the finals are free. So please show up, check me out. Please say you're there to see Eric Williams. I think there's still a 2-drink minimum, but yeah, and every Friday, I highly recommend going to the open mic at the Parkway Theater out in McKees Rocks, hosted by the marvelous Zachary Seepley. I may or may not be there tomorrow night, but it's a free show. There's a brewery in the corner, and it's a great time.
Yeah. All right, man, cool. Yeah, guys, if you got the free time, you're in the area, you want some good laughs, go check that out. As for me, next week, I got a quick announcement. Second episode of my monthly podcast, Silver Screen Stand-Ups. I'll be joined by comedians Derek Minto of the Burning Bridges Comedy Club and Krish Mohan of the Forkful of Noodle Show and his new Empathy tour. And we're going to be doing a roasting of the movie Cirque du Freak, the Vampire's Assistant. That's going to be Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, live streaming on the POVincent Facebook page. But anyway, guys, once again, thank you for tuning in. It's been good talking movies with you. You take it easy now.